today. And we're really excited to introduce this product, and more importantly, the combination of the two, of the training that you'll get from the Sandra Day O'Connor School and the Lodestar Center, combined with a technology product called ADR Notable. So my name's Gary Dornhafer, and I'm the founder of ADR Notable, the company that designed the software product. So I have found that because you're all mediators and so much about mediation is about kind of the story, that it's often helpful to tell a little bit of the story of ADR Notable first. So let me just tell you a little bit about how we got started. So I was a lawyer in private practice. A substantial amount of my practice was actually in-house, and that, for not that it's relevant, was in the airline industry for most of my career. But the in-house perspective, really helps you recognize how truly crazy litigation is. I mean, suddenly when you're in the in-house lawyer, you're responsible for the budget, you're responsible for outcomes, and you start to realize how inefficient it is to actually litigate cases all the way through. So my interest came back, I would say, grew again in ADR generally as I went through my career. And when I came to a point, I'd been working abroad, I came back to the United States full time, and I live in Ohio, near Ohio State University. And I got back in touch with some people at the Ohio State University Law School who brought me back in, deeply back into the ADR world. Terrific people, fabulously talented faculty. And at one point, I took a little 3-day practical skills training course offered by one of the professors, Josh Stuhlberg, on mediation. And I laughed when I finished it. I said, okay, I don't think my personality is well suited to mediation. I'm not terribly patient, and I'm a very practical oriented, kind of driven person. My career, along the way, I was the general counsel, or in one case, a part owner of 2 technology startup companies. And I said, okay, this is important. We need to help this industry. And I think I can help it better by designing software for it than I could by becoming a mediator, because I just don't think it fits my skill set very well. But I think what mediators do is critically important, maybe never more so in our society than right now, given the high levels of conflict we see every day. So I just set about trying to figure out how to help in the best way I could think of for my skills. So that's how we built ADR Notable. And maybe it helps if I share my screen first, huh? Now that I've moved on. And you should be seeing just my screen, right? Just the output?
Yep.
Okay. I want to make sure I missed which screen I was sharing, but I thought I had it set up right in the first place. So, so with that background, one of the things that we've discovered is just the concept of taking what you'll learn here is basic case management software and joining it up with the training, so that when you complete the training and you graduate, you go into trying to actually implement the training you've been given, you can use a case management tool that has the training materials arrayed and embedded right in it, so it's right there at your fingertips when you get out. That's what we're here to kind of really show you, and it's the kind of the exciting idea of this combination. So to get started, though, because the Lodestar Center is one of the ADR Notable's training partners, you're going to have a longer than usual, a 3-month complimentary subscription for free. So then that gives you time to get into it, play around with it, decide whether you really want to use it during the training or not, and then have some time after the training to understand how it might help you as you begin to try and implement what you've been trained to do, and how to exercise those skills and still have a technology product there that is supporting the practical side of your practice. So a quick overview of what we're going to talk about here. It's kind of the 5 things you need to know about the ADR Notable platform. You'll get into those in a second. One of the most important components of this is the library, and we'll spend some time talking about that, and then we'll actually do some of that live in the product. We're going to talk a lot about how this can help you manage your practice, and that really is the primary motivation and goal in the way we develop the software. There is a kind of a division of opinion in software development around dispute resolution and many things right now, between building things that replace the human in the tasks that they are doing versus products that support the human and hopefully make them a little bit more effective, often by offloading tasks that computers do well and allowing the humans to focus on the things they do well. We're firmly in the latter camp. We're building tools that we think help the human perform the tasks. We're going to drill down a little bit deeper to see into the product. There's a little short video we'll watch. It gives you a good overview about the overall case management, and then we'll get deeply into this library feature so that you can see that live. Okay, so that's the approach here today. So 5 things to know about ADR Notable. First, one of the reasons that this product exists is when, after I finished that short course with Professor Stuhlberg, I looked around and said, what technology are people using for this right now? And we learned that really there wasn't any that was designed specifically for purpose, except maybe one product called Caseload Manager. And Caseload Manager had been designed a long time ago and didn't have a great reputation at the time. So, what we were finding instead was that people were either avoiding technology and they were still, using the yellow legal pad and trying to, minimize how much technology they actually used in their practice with basically just email and maybe not much more than that. Or a little bit more sophisticated, they were using a law firm type software like Clio or Practice Panther or Smokeball. And as we would talk to those folks, we would find that it never really seemed to fit very well. They were always somewhat unhappy. One of the most obvious things we talked about with people was billing. I mean, none of the existing billing products that were out there for lawyers did a very good job of splitting bills the way mediators nearly always have to do, because for the most part, lawyers have a single client per matter, in contrast to a mediator or arbitrator who's inevitably splitting the bills between multiple parties. So there were things like that we were finding that this sort of a square peg in a round hole problem for the law firm or lawyer support software. And then there were those people who were cobbling together a combination of stuff. So they would use they would use email, they use Word or Google Docs, and then they would have maybe a spreadsheet for contact management or maybe Asana to do some project management, or they were using a CRM, a customer resource management tool, as a case management tool, again, forcing something not designed for purpose to fit their needs. So what we said is, look, there's an opportunity here. There's a place for us to help. Let's go out and design a software product that is specifically intended for the process of a dispute resolution practitioner in their practice. Now, pretty rapidly, we learned we better design a product that's pretty flexible, because, not surprisingly, as you probably well know, there are a lot of mediators out there and they all do things a little bit differently. So we have tried to build in flexibility into the ADR Notable product. It's an interesting tension there. I think, for instance, Caseload Manager has been updated and it's a more modern looking product, but it's so flexible and it has so many features that you spend a long time kind of configuring it to fit your needs. And we found that a lot of people would prefer a kind of just give me a basic structure that fits what I need to do. And then I'll figure out as I go along if I want to change it, if I want to modify it. But I don't know enough on day one to know what I want. So let's start with some structure. Let's start with an approach, and then give me the tools to make the tweaks as I gain experience. I gain knowledge about how I'd like to do this business. So we constructed it largely based around the book that was co-authored by Josh Stuhlberg and Professor Leela Love called The Middle Voice. And we kind of used their structure for how mediators go about doing things as a very loose template for the structure of the product, and then gave people lots of options. And now today, as we look at the product and who's using it, I mean, we have individual mediators, we have people who administer a firm of neutrals, we have case managers. We just signed on a person who's got a really interesting business model. She is a remote case manager who would support right now just one mediator, but would support additional mediators. There is a family counselor in Canada who actually signs annual contracts to provide counseling service for divorced families around their parenting issues, who is using our product. I've used it personally in an arbitration back in my old world of the airline industry, and so forth. I mean, it is flexible enough now that we can help people configure it to exactly kind of what they want to do, and it works pretty well for the task. So obviously, if you're doing mediation, you're doing conflict resolution type work, data security is essential. And that in today's world, frankly, can be achieved. A high level of data security can be achieved fairly easily simply by using one of the major cloud service providers. So we are hosted in Azure, which is the Microsoft cloud product. And that means that all of the data and the communications in and out of our app are done through the data security setup that comes with the the cloud. So those are firewalls that are updated for virus vulnerabilities on a 24/7 basis. It means that the data is encrypted at rest. It's encrypted as it moves in and out. So it really leaves very little of our product exposed to potential risk that isn't within that shell or cocoon of the Azure system. So the few remaining components, we've had an outside audit look at how the few remaining things we may be able to do, including a few things inside Azure. There are some settings and some controls that you need to enable that are optional that we've now taken a look at and chosen the ones that make the most sense for us. We've added, if you choose to use it, two-factor authentication, which, by the way, I highly recommend on a system like this, because it really defeats the biggest vulnerability, which is password management. Because if you have to do two steps to sign in, then even if somebody gets your password, it's very difficult for them to still get in. And the tool we selected for two-factor authentication will also remember your device. So it'll put you through that process once, and then after that, it should recognize your device. And as long as you're logging in from your own computer, it should be okay, and you don't have to go through that full two-factor authentication. So security. Oh, and the other thing we've added to the security is just, the most secure thing you can do is don't keep stuff. So we give you a way to delete things very quickly and very easily. It's affordable. This is an easy one. It's the price for regular subscription, monthly subscription is $29.99, $30 is the way I always say it, but marketing people make me say it also differently. And you get a discount off of that if you subscribe annually. And it's really, as I've mentioned, is kind of a unique product in the marketplace. So the way we think about this is what you're about to embark upon here is the faculty at ASU. In fact, Kristen is going to teach you how to be a mediator. And there are a lot of personal, interpersonal human skills and thinking that goes into that. There's, reframing and how to display and ensure somebody hears your empathy, your understanding of the issue, making sure they feel heard and so forth. That's not us. We're here to just help you do it. And the way we think about this and what drove our management or development of this product is the management side. If we can get that all off your brain and out of your distraction scope, that's our goal. But every conflict management process has all of these practical steps. You have to know who the participants are and how to communicate with them. You have to gather information. You eventually have to identify what it is you need to resolve to get out of the room successfully. Identifying the issues, you have to generate options, form an agreement, document it in some level of formality, and then follow up, which could include details like getting paid, for instance. So what I'm going to do now is to show you this, just let this video run, and it does a good overview of the product, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the
ADR Notable can help you stay organized by keeping all of your case materials, documents, and notes in one place stored securely in the cloud. They will be available to you anywhere you have an internet connection, and you will be ready to pick up right where you left off in the last session or in your case preparation. So let's start by taking a quick look at how ADR Notable fits seamlessly into the mediation process that you already use.
Oops, sorry.
ADR Notable is a unique cloud-based SaaS platform that provides dispute resolution professionals, case managers, firm administrators, HR professionals, and many others with a rich array of case and practice management tools to help you before, during, and after a case. Before a mediation session, there are any number of tasks that need to be done. From the minute a case is referred to you from a court or via an inquiry from private individuals, ADR Notable is there to help you streamline the process. You can gather participant information, schedule a consultation call, request a signed agreement to mediate form, send an advance fee invoice, request and review documents pertinent to the case, record the issues at hand, and create a case checklist. And with our new scheduling integration, you can use Calendar Hero's unique AI algorithm to schedule a session when all the participants are available in just minutes. Now, how can it help you during a session? This is where ADR Notable's patented, powerful, and flexible digital noteboard shines. It enables you to quickly capture notes, link them, and create and work proposals and counteroffers. With all your information at hand, you can help generate movement toward agreement in a secure space, accessible wherever you have internet. Some of the most popular features of ADR Notable are those that can be used at the end of a case. Proposals that have been agreed upon are automatically brought into the term sheet generator. And from here, you have a couple of options. You can edit them right in the platform and then pull in some clauses with a single click from your own clauses library. Digital signatures get an automatic date and timestamp. And you can print, save, or email the document when it's done. Of course, timely billing is important to your practice. ADR Notable's billing module was built from the ground up to meet the specific needs of a dispute resolution practice. It accommodates hourly, fixed rate, or hybrid billing practices, can be tailored for a specific currency, and enables flexible fee splitting among the parties. Invoices are prepared and emailed right from the platform itself. Finally, when you use ADR Notable's Secure Delete option, your case notes and documents are not discoverable, even in backup. Any documents you want to keep, you can park in the Retained Documents case file. At ADR Notable, we believe that the tipping point has been reached where most mediators will soon be using some type of technology to help them work more efficiently, with greater security, and with fewer expenses. And of course, we'll see dramatic change in that technology in the coming years, especially with the advent of accessible new AI tools. And these guys, they'll figure it out. Our focus is on providing technology tools that are secure, flexible, and easy to learn and use in order to help today's mediators manage their businesses and their cases so that they can focus on helping others resolve their disputes. Another group that benefits from ADR Notable are mediation trainers. Dispute resolution trainers can put their learning materials into a proprietary section of the ADR Notable library. So why is this important? Well, one reason is that trainers are very concerned with how to make their training stickier, because as we see here on the well-known Ebbinghaus forgetting curve, it doesn't take long to lose what we learn when there's no reinforcement. An ADR Notable training partner would create a course and then build out as many folders and subfolders as needed. They would then upload their course materials to make them available to their learners. When they're done with documents, they would then do the same thing with the clauses and the checklists. Before we leave checklists, though, let's take a quick look at how they are used during a session. So anytime a neutral is in a case, she can access a checklist from the top menu. So we open a case, click on checklists, and we see that there are 6 checklists here. Now the first one is a case-specific checklist, which only resides in the case and serves as a to-do list for a specific case. The next one is a process checklist, and these are steps for a mediator and her clients to go through to prepare for a remote mediation via Zoom. These next 2, though, are different in nature. So here we have a list of ideas of ways to get through an impasse. So very much something that a mediator might call up during a session. And here are lists of ways to be an excellent listener. So this is a list that somebody may pull up before a session, perhaps just to refresh your memory. And then this last one is very much kind of a nuts and bolts type of checklist of things, documents to collect before a foreclosure avoidance session. And as these documents come in, you can just check them off as having been received. As a cloud-based app built on the Microsoft platform, ADR Notable benefits from Microsoft's data security and encryption standards for data in transit and in storage. ADR Notable is currently used by independent practitioners, mediation firms, and trainers in the US and Canada, and soon in Europe and the UK. If you'd like to learn more about ADR Notable, please check out our website and our YouTube channel, where you will find a series of under 10-minute videos on various aspects of the app. Links to the playlist are below.
So I'm going to stop right there. There's just one more slide in that. So that's a quick overview, and it's a lot in a little bit of time. And what I want to say is that we've tried to design this product that it's a lot like, I think of like Word, like Microsoft Word, in the sense that it takes you very little time to get started with the basic things that it'll do for you. And then as you get comfortable with it, and you want to find out a little bit more, we have lots of built-in resources that help you find the additional features, the additional functions that you may want to use. And it takes, so for example, I mean, you saw a quick thing about the note board in there. I mean, some of the other features in that note board, once you get drilled down into it a little more deeply, is you'll find that it's, you have a timer that runs at the top that helps you with your timekeeping and billing eventually. The timer can also be split out and keep track of your time in your caucus sessions. When you take a note during the caucus session, it comes into your note board blurred to remind you that it's confidential. You can read it by hovering over it, or you can remove the blurring if you get a waiver of the confidentiality. So and that kind of thing happens throughout our product. It's a little deeper, it's very robust, and can help you do a lot of things, but you don't have to know all of it at once. So it is designed primarily to get you started with basic case management features that get the people in the door. Who's involved? Who are their counsel? How do I contact them? And then start to use maybe a checklist that you design for yourself. What do I need to do to get this case in the door, get paid, get my agreement to mediate signed, think about my conflicts. I mean, to do all of those steps, you can start up the checklist right away. What do I want the parties to send me in advance, and so forth. The billing component, unlike calendaring, which we'll talk about a little bit more, we couldn't find a billing system that we liked that fit the needs of the dispute resolution industry or practitioners, so we built it. And again, it's very flexible. As the video said, it doesn't matter whether you do hourly rate, maybe you have 2 hourly rates, one for administrative work, one for in session, maybe you bill flat fee for half day, flat fee full day, case flat fee plus hourly, doesn't matter, any of the above. Maybe you're practicing in a state that taxes professional services, no problem, we can do that. So we went through and did an extensive set of requirements for billing for mediators, including the split defaults to 50-50 or pro rata if there are more than 2 parties. But all of that can be adjusted in the case as well to a different split if that's negotiated by the parties. So it's very robust and does a little of everything you could possibly want. Scheduling, that we did find a product for, it was referred to in the video, but I encourage you to kind of take a look at that. The product name is called Calendar Hero. The great thing that it does is you basically just pick who has to be there, and we've made that rapid. You can do that with a couple clicks, and then say, I want this kind of meeting, half day on Zoom, for instance, and then you basically hit another button, and it goes off sending messages to people who use a link to look at your calendar, which will then show them blocks of time which meet that half day requirement. They pick it. If they pick one that they all agree on, the system just does the rest. It books it on your calendar, sends them invitations, and sends you all reminders. Firm management, we have a way to keep track of large firms, lots of people in them, help you understand what they're doing at any given moment. You can sort your dashboard by who's assigned to a case. Individual mediators see only their cases at a firm. They cannot even see the existence of other cases for security reasons, but there is a firm administrative level who has kind of global privileges. And then reports, you can do some data reporting. You figure out, who are you getting cases from? There's a referral field you can fill out, or you can just search for individual participant names or lawyer names. Maybe you're getting referrals from lawyers. There are lots of ways for you to use the data reports just to see how you're making your money and where you should focus your practice in the future. So I'm gonna go live into this in just a moment, but there are 3 components of the library feature in ADR Notable. They are documents, clauses, and checklists, and you saw a sample of that in the video. Think of documents as everything from your templates, your standard forms, but also, I mean, you could put your reading library in there, articles you think are useful, things you want to hold for later. You can build that folder out however you wish. We've even included, if you are the firm administrator, maybe of your own firm, there's a folder that is only visible to you. You could put HR records in there. You could put your contract for your rent or your lease. I mean, you can run your firm out of the app is the goal, out of the document library in ADR Notable. Clauses, that's just blocks, as you saw, blocks of text that are frequently used typically in negotiating or documenting the final agreement. So it may be, a mutual release clause that you like, that you save that in your library, and then you can drop it in documents with a single click. And then the checklist feature, you saw that, but just to go over, it's really it's become, I would say, a more robust feature than we expected when we first built the product. We thought it would be a historical record of what you've done, just keeping track of things. Then people said, well, gee, I'd like it to be a to-do list where I can put in dates when something is due. So we built that out, and those dates get pulled forward to your login page. You'll then see your task list in the sequence of due dates. And all you have to do is click on one of them. It'll take you right into the case, and you can go to work on whatever that task is. And then we talked to trainers, and we started realizing that there are aspects of training that are list oriented. It'd be really handy to have at the ready at the, in a couple of clicks, maybe literally in the middle of the session. And the example we used, when I went through the training, I did take the full mediation training eventually from the Colorado Bar Association, and got a 250-page PDF at the conclusion, and not a terribly useful format. And the example for me was buried in a PowerPoint slide in one day's lecture was a list of 10 strategies to try and break an impasse. And I pulled that out and built it into a checklist for me that I could use for inspiration if I'm in trouble in the middle of a matter. So let's see here if I can do this. You have to get out and get back in, unfortunately. Okay, so I think, can you still see a screen of ADR Notable now? Or do I have to stop sharing and restart? You're in ADR Notable, yes?
Yes, and Gary, I will just add, as you pointed out, for everyone that's here, you will get, just as Gary said, a giant printout PDF of everything that we have, but we've tried to incorporate all of the pieces that you would use in your actual practice into this library that Gary's going to show you, so you don't have to remake all of the materials that we provide to you. And if there is anything during the training where you say, hey, can this be put into our library on ADR Notable as well, and we missed it, just let us know and we're happy to add it in. It's one of the biggest benefits of having this library for all of you.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Kristen, for adding that. So this is where you land when you've done nothing. You've just registered. You've just gotten started in the product. You'll have no cases. You maybe haven't linked your calendar yet. You don't have any checklist reminders. There is a tool inside the application where you can request documents for parties, and they come in not via email, but via a secure pathway right into ADR Notable. And if you have any pending, they'll show up here. Your agenda, once you've linked your calendar, it'll pull up everything that's upcoming, things that are coming up in the next several days. And you can link this to email. So we support links to either the Microsoft world, both Outlook and their email. both calendar and email, and then also Google email and calendar as well. And you just, it takes you a couple seconds down here at the bottom to sign into your account and link it. And then that'll populate that calendar in front of you. But what I really want to drill down, because there's so much here, I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. I do want to show you the library though. So your library will look like this when you first log in. Just to go back, there are 3 categories of things: documents, clauses to be used in drafting, and checklists. And then there's basically there's this pull down, which is where are they, or where am I getting them from? And yours will look just like this. There's your files. We at the company have the option, have the capability of making available some materials to you. If you're in a firm, you would be able to access that firm's files. And as you take training from training partners of ADR Notable, those files will be available here. And this pull down is just replicated for each of these types of documents. So let me go through them again, really just to drill down then. So in documents, you go into the training, and it's already here, as Kristen just mentioned. So we've loaded some of it, and here are some of the form files. And what you want to do is take a look at these, and if you want them, you want to copy them over into your files. So what this allows us to do is leave a version in the library that you can't edit and you can't change. So it's the way the trainer wants it to look. You copy it into my files, and yeah, I'll just put it into, I'll add a folder, example. And now I've copied that document, folder example. Okay, that's right. I've copied that into my files, and there you can then open it up. You can mess with it. You can change it if you want to make some tweaks to it, and so forth. So what you want to do is review the files in the training, and then move them over if that's something you think you want. And then that idea, goes throughout all of this. So here's clauses. I think you have a few clauses, and these you just copy with a click. You just say, yep, copy to my clauses, done. If you like it, so if you want that. So this is, like I said, is a way for us to keep one pristine version that you have access to, and then move it over for where you can make use of it. And then checklists, I'll just give you an example. This one I have pulled down from ADR Notable. So we have some materials in here. There is the Berlin and Rains group of materials that they made publicly available. We asked them, since they were making them available, can we have permission to distribute them? And they said yes. And so here's an example of a checklist that they provide as a part of their training, and basically gave it to the public as a courtesy. So you can go into ADR Notable, and we've done a few just to use as examples, right? So here's a new case, a new client intake. Do I have all the parties? Basically, if I've done my conflict of interest check, if I created some places for documents to go in the case file, and so forth. So it's just it's the basic list of steps to open a case. But you might want to download that checklist and then make changes. Delete some items, add some steps, whatever you need to do. So that's the way the library works. And as Kristen said, there will be lots of materials. You'll get one in a big batch, but there will also be a way that we've begun to organize it into this case management tool, so that it's right there where you want it, where you need it, and when you want it. So let's see if I can now go back one more slide in the presentation. So there you go. So that's the product. That's the way it looks. That's the way we hope it will work for you. There is a custom landing page available to you on our website. If you just put the /ASU in after our URL. And please, if you do sign up, and I encourage you to sign up. It's free for a while. You get it. You can decide whether it meets your needs. You got a long period to play with it, and you can build. We have some fact patterns that if you go into the ADR Notable library that documents, there is a folder with some fun. We've done some silly fact patterns, usually around holiday events, that you can use to practice with. And you can build out cases. You can make sure you know how to put in parties and their lawyers and others, and how to take notes and so forth, and decide whether this is a tool that you can see yourself using, and that would really facilitate your practice as you go forward. So let's see, I have a note over here that I think I'm probably supposed to tell you in my.
Looks
Okay,
like we
so
have
you will
a
get an
question
email
from Deborah.
Question from Deborah. Let's see.
Yes, I have one quick question.
Yeah, sure.
When we are requesting documents, I have worked on another platform on this has a different the clients have to create a sign out login themselves. In this case, are they going to be sending to me and then I will be putting adding the file to the platform, or somehow when I send those requests, automatically allow them to upload that direct on the platform?
Yeah. So let me go see if I can do this really fast. The answer is closer to the latter. So I don't have any cases built, so I can't actually show you this right now. But the answer is this is a kind of a one-way communication platform. This is intended to only face you. Your clients would never be in this product. So the way the document request structure works is if you have a case built, you just you click on documents inside that case. It'll show you the file structure you built. And then there's a request document button. You click that, and it pulls up all the parties in the case that you have email addresses for. You pick who you want to get the document from. You write them a little note. You tell the system where you want the document to go when you get it, and you hit the button, and you're done. It sends an email. The system sends an email to them with a link. When they use the link, the document comes back into your email or into ADR Notable in the folder you designated it to go to, and you get a note that it's arrived. And down on this document requests here, those will show until you clear them, until that you've got the document. So you'll know what's pending too.
Thank you.
Sure. So I just want to make sure that people did see the code to use before I let you all get out of here. Please do use the ASU 0523 code, and that'll be great.
Thank you so much, Gary. I should probably turn my video back on so everyone can see that I'm talking.
Well,
To those that joined later, I'm Kristen Carmichael. I am the training director for the Lodestar Dispute Resolution Center at ASU. So I'll be one of your trainers next week. As Gary pointed out, it's a great platform to see if it's going to fit your practice, but also because you have such a long time period to use it to try it out. You can try it with cases that you're working on. Also, as was shown, the library is great because you don't have to remake everything. So as I said, we'll be sending out materials during the presentation. Also, when you get there on Monday, you're going to get a massive packet of stuff. Some of the stuff is stuff that you won't need as a Word document for your practice, like the codes of ethics for being a mediator in Arizona. But there will be a lot of things in there that you can use during your practice. And so we want to make it as streamlined as possible, where you could walk out of the training and feel like you could really kind of start mediating right away and set up a platform to do so right away. And having been in the field for almost 10 years, ADR Notable is going to be the easiest platform to just walk right in and have a practice already set up. And they're also wonderful to work with, which is why we love sponsoring with them. So highly recommend checking it out. Again, even if you jump on and create an account and don't end up using it, you still have access to the library. So just make sure that you take advantage of that, because I've had so many trainees that don't log in. I'm like, now you just have to recreate everything that we already gave you. You might as well just make it easy and be able to get access to that stuff. So,
And Kristen, can I just add 2 quick things?
absolutely.
One is we have a new system to try to get people up and running in ADR Notable quickly. So when you sign on and start your account, you'll get a series of email messages from Sydney, who is a colleague of mine and Gary's, who is responsible for client onboarding and customer service. And so if you have any questions along the way as you're starting to use it, do not hesitate to reach out to her, because she's great and she'll be able to answer your questions and get you on the right track right away. Or you can find Gary or I easily on our website as well to reach out to us. So have fun with it, and we're interested to get your feedback.
One other quick point too, by the way, if you have a case pending, you've set it up in there and your 90 days expires, it does not terminate your access.
Right.
It only terminates your ability to start a new case. So there's no risk there. If you've got a case and it goes beyond the 90 days, you will continue to have access to that case, to the materials in that case, and so forth until it's concluded. But unless you then subscribe, it just terminates your ability to start new cases after the expiration. So no risk.
Well, we look forward to seeing all of you next week. If you have any questions, you have my email, so please feel free to reach out. But otherwise, thank you so much to Gary and Kimberly. We really appreciate it.
Thanks
And
for this opportunity.
we'll talk about the platform more during the training as well, so that you kind of know exactly what's in there and what you can use.
Terrific.
Thank you, Kristen, Gary,
Thanks for spending this time with us.
Kimberly.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.